Lewis Hamilton flies high at Imola, while F3 champion Oscar Piastri completes his F1 test in Bahrain. You can now watch full 24-minute episodes of The Inside Line at our new home on unbeaten.com. Mercedes rewrote F1 history in Imola, securing a record 7th straight Constructors' title, beating the previous benchmark set by Ferrari's Dream Team led by Michael Schumacher. And while Lewis Hamilton is already the most successful driver of all time in terms of wins, with 93, he can equal Schumi with 7 crowns at the next round in Turkey, as long as his teammate Valtteri Bottas does not win and secure the bonus point for fastest lap. If Bottas wins the race but doesn't secure the bonus point for fastest lap, Hamilton is champion if he's second. However, if Bottas is second with the fastest lap, then Hamilton is champion if he is at least 4th. (2020) Formula 3 champion Oscar Piastri has had his first taste of F1, with the Australian completing 85 laps, equivalent to 500 kilometers of Bahrain last week in Renault's 2018 car. Piastri, who is set to race in F2 next year, felt at home in the F1 car from the outset, with the Bahrain test a reward for his progress in the Renault Academy. The French marque's F2 race winners Christian Lundgaard and Guan Yu Zhou also getting time.
Certainly lived up to the excitement. I was a little bit nervous as well. I think that's pretty normal. But after the first lap, I sort of got over that and just focused on driving fast and having fun.
Two-time F1 world champion Fernando Alonso takes over the RS18 this week in a 2-day test on Wednesday and Thursday. Alfa Romeo had plenty to celebrate at its 3rd home race this year, with its first double points finish for the season at Imola, and news it's retaining both Kimi Räikkönen and Antonio Giovinazzi for 2021. But the underlying Sauber squad also confirmed that it would continue its partnership with Alfa Romeo for another year, which began in 2018, with then hopes for a full buyout.
I've been waiting to see this for a long, long time. And to be able to see that on a car, to be able to see an Alfa Red on the thing, to see the support of the FCA team and Ferrari in bringing this back is a big, big deal. I realize that maybe the outside world, it's not. To me, it's a big bloody deal. So look, let's do it and let's do it right.
Pierre Gasly was again a talking point in Italy last weekend, despite a crushing DNF at Imola, with AlphaTauri confirming his place on the 2021 grid on the back of a standout season. Gasly has re-established himself at Toro Rosso turned AlphaTauri across the past 13 months, since being demoted from Red Bull Racing, with the high point his stunning maiden win at Monza. And while Red Bull boss Christian Horner ruled out a return to the brand's top squad, with Gasly crushed under pressure to match Max Verstappen, the Frenchman never gave up on turning his form around.
For sure, last year was a big test for myself and a big challenge to overcome, but I think it's also part of my mentality. I'm not someone that gives up on anything. I always come back and always try to deliver always more for myself.
AlphaTauri boss Franz Tost said he hopes a mentally strong Gasly will stay within the Red Bull driver pool for many years. His 2021 teammate is expected to be imminently confirmed as Japanese F2 race winner and Honda protege Yuki Tsunoda, who tested the AT01 this week at Imola after the Grand Prix. Former F1 driver Felipe Massa expects Turkey ahead will provide drivers with another big thrill after roller coasters Mugello and Portugal, admitting in a chat with Australian Grand Prix podcast In the Fast Lane, Turn 8 could be even more impressive in 2020 machinery. Massa, who finished his F1 career with Williams in 2017, is still the most successful racer at Istanbul Park and the only one with multiple victories there. 3 straight from 2006 to 2008.
Especially with the cars, they are driving now, you know, with a massive downforce. So I'm pretty much sure turn 8 will be flat out, you know, and it will be really maybe the highest G-force, you know, we can see, maybe they can feel in Formula 1 now on that corner.
F1's plans to visit Saudi Arabia for the first time next season has enraged human rights organization Amnesty International, which has said the race would form part of ongoing efforts to sports wash the country's abysmal human rights record. F1's draft calendar, unveiled to teams last week, is said to include a street race in Jeddah, a stopgap plan before relocating the event to Qiddiya, an $8 billion city in development located 45 kilometers from capital Riyadh, that aims to become a 334 square kilometer entertainment, sports, and arts epicenter. But while Amnesty International railed against the race, it also provided operational advice to ensure basic standards. If a Saudi Grand Prix goes ahead, at the very least, F1 should insist that all contracts contain stringent labor standards across all supply chains, and that all race events are open to everyone without discrimination, said a spokesperson. Driver salaries are set to be given a new ceiling, likely from 2023, with all teams agreeing in principle to a $30 million cap at last week's meeting of the F1 Commission. The $30 million cap that both driver salaries must fit into is another safeguard against the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, with a further ceiling to be set for a team's top 3 employees. But there has been pushback on its date of introduction, including Silver Arrow's boss Toto Wolff, who is yet to re-sign Lewis Hamilton. We don't want to lose the superstars out of this sport, so it needs to be a gradual introduction from 2024, so that the future generations of drivers end up on a more sensible level, he said. F1 fans can rest easy with the controversial idea of reverse grid qualifying races knocked down for a third and perhaps final time last week during a meeting of the F1 Commission. The concept had been twice opposed earlier this year, but F1's chairman and CEO Chase Carey recently told Beyond the Grid, the sport's official podcast, that it was still on the agenda.
We're not going to dictate that. You know, it's tee it up, talk about the pros and cons, have done the appropriate homework to what what we think again are the benefits and issues with it, and have an honest discussion with everybody.
It's understood, though, it didn't get enough interest to be put to a vote, where it would have needed 8 of 10 teams to agree. But Mercedes, Racing Point, McLaren, and Renault were all expected to oppose. Ferrari's World Finals event is a traditional end-of-year celebration across all its racing activities, including Formula 1. But 2020's edition will have to wait, with this weekend's party at Misano postponed. Europe is currently being hammered by a second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, with rising infections and deaths triggering tougher restrictions, including lockdowns. The Prancing Horse says it will reorganize the World Finals as soon as it is safe to do so. Mercedes has defended its decision to put Valtteri Bottas onto hard tires for his final stint in Portugal, despite his request for the softs for an offset to teammate Lewis Hamilton, stating it wasn't the right option. It's not the first time that Bottas has been denied a different compound to Hamilton, with the Finn given hard tires in Mugello on safety grounds to protect against a vibration. But in Portimao, it was performance.
We chose the hard tyre with Lewis. He got to stop first because he was the leader. And then when Valtteri came in, he expressed a preference for the soft because I guess that would give him a chance of being different to Lewis and maybe rolling a lucky dice. But we were pretty confident by that stage that it was not going to do well for him and that he would be better protected by having the hard tyre.
Up next, an old rivalry reignites in a new series. And we look at Italian drivers. Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.